Hey YouTube, it's me, Jen, your pudgy picker, and
Kimberly.
and we are here again for another riveting podcast on reselling in a physical space or an antique mall. So we are two sisters.
One booth.
There you go. So today's topic is, should I sell items that other vendors are selling? So Kim, give me the long, detailed explanation on that.
Yes, no.
Okay, that's contradictory. But you know what? A lot of these questions you can't really just say, well, absolutely yes or absolutely no. There's a lot of things that factor in.
That's for sure.
So if you think about all the other vendors who are in our mall, who are out there scavenging and trying to find good stuff, they are essentially going to the same places we do.
We run into them.
Yes.
So you
and
know.
if you see them coming up a driveway, run to get up there ahead of them. So, we're doing flea markets, thrift stores, garage sales, auctions, estate sales, whatever else you want to call it. We're all essentially out there doing the same thing and trying to find good stuff. So it is inevitable that we are going to buy stuff to resell that other people in the mall have.
For sure.
So what should we do about that?
Well, if I have a washboard, you have a washboard, it's not going to make much difference.
Yep.
That's an okay item if 10 other people have washboards, because they're going to be unique, first of all, because you're hardly ever going to have exactly the same one, the same size, metal grate, glass grate, different brand names, vintage names stamped on them. So
And different patina.
Exactly.
I mean, some people are looking for something that looks pretty much like you should just throw it away, and other people want it as close to what it looked like when it was made.
That's true, because some people want it, like you say, with a patina to look vintage, and some want it newer looking so they can make it into something else and not look too rustic.
So a patina is a fancy word for worn.
Yeah.
We have all these fancy reseller words, but a lot of the charm of something is if it has rust on it, or it's a little bit, the paint is chipped off, and people buy new things and paint them and chip the paint off to get that look. So it only stands to reason that if you find a piece that got that way honestly, I guess you could say,
Yep.
that's a desirable thing. So, it's inevitable that we're going to find certain items that other people have in the mall. And like you said, different people, customers are looking for different name brands, different things. They're going to use it as a display piece or whatever the case might be. So that is inevitable, and that's not really what we're talking about tonight.
No.
So that's, you don't go in and say, look, I bought, a washboard and I bought, this little table. Oh, other people are selling little tables and washboards. So I guess I can't sell them. No,
Yep.
that's not it. So let's think about some of the other pieces and things that we would maybe buy secondhand and sell that would be too similar. Like what would you think of for that maybe?
Well, I know. Are you going to furniture now?
Yes. Usually we're right there with each other. I'm leading you
Not
tonight.
tonight.
I'm leading you there.
You're looking at me
follow
with your
along.
arm like you're reaching to my neck. That's leading me there. Yes, furniture. I was thinking, we have a furniture room, and people have small pieces and sometimes large pieces of furniture in their booth. My thought on this is furniture is going to sell, and furniture does real well up there for us.
Really well.
It flies out the door. But at the same time, if I have a standard sized, whether it's vintage or new, an average size dresser, nothing too absolutely unique about it, or I've painted it or whatever, and there's 20 other pieces that are about that size, have been painted or whatever, in the back room, that would not be a good time for me to bring my dresser up there, because somebody else, you're going to have 20 people going against your pricing. So I either have to want to get rid of it quick and price it low, or better yet, if you have the opportunity, you have the place to store it, just hold on to it for a little while. So yes, it's okay to sell things like that, staying on topic, but at the same time, be smart about it and wait till it thins out a little bit so that you're not competing against 20 other people. You can get the price that you want out of it, and you're not saturating yourself in that market.
Yeah, it seems to be, we have what they call it a furniture gallery. And for each, this is the easiest way they do it, is we have a full-size booth. We have 2 work days a month, so we are allowed to have 2 larger pieces back there. Now, if you have a table and 4 chairs, that's considered one piece because you're selling it as a set. So we're allowed to have 2 larger pieces back there. So that being said, there's times we walk back there and there's, as far as the eye can see, there's dressers. Or there seems to be a lot of dining room or dinette sets.
Yep.
So that's where you want to kind of look around and think, wow, there's a lot of choices back here. And there's a lot of different reasons that weigh into why we price things the way we do. And you don't know what people paid for stuff. So that a lot of time figures in, well, I paid, $40 for this piece. I got to ask at least this amount or that amount. So sometimes you can't even compete. If somebody picks something out of the trash and refurbished it or fixed it up, they have a lot less invested than somebody who bought it for $40, $50 or more, expecting to get a higher price out of it. So kind of, if you have an area like that in your mall, kind of keep your eyeballs on it and see, if it looks like it's, just has a little bit too much, or side tables.
Oh.
Sometimes you'll go, or an end table. They'll just
those little coffee tables.
Yeah, there's just a line of them. So unless you have something especially unique, or you have a set of 2, or something that makes it really stick out, you're not going to do yourself any good by taking it up there.
Oh, it just blends in with the rest of them.
Yeah, so that's something you want to keep in mind. So that's something you buy secondhand. So we're talking about secondhand things that you buy to resell. And do you have anything else to add on there, or am I moving on? Because you kind of look like you're a little confused.
No, I'm not. Well, I am always dazed and confused lately, but no, I think that pretty much covers it, because everything is going to be slightly unique. But again, it's just using a little common sense on, is this the right time to take that up there now or not?
Yeah, and I guess when you have certain items, you're certainly going to sell better if you have maybe 2 matching chairs, even if they're like kitchen chairs.
Well, I had those 4, they were chairs that were a little higher. What do they call those? Bar stool chairs?
Yeah, like bar stool.
Yeah.
Cafe.
Yeah, they weren't real tall, but they were taller than the average.
Pub seating.
Taller than
Pub
the average
seating,
bear.
there.
Yeah, pubs. You're doing pub seating, and I'm doing Yogi the Bear.
Stay on task here.
Taller than the average stool. Anyway, yeah, I had 4 of those, and I elected to mark them as a set of 4 for a certain price, or a set of 2 for a certain price. I didn't want to sell them individually.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense. But I didn't mind breaking them up into 2s, because some people have have one of those kitchen islands that there's just enough room for 2 seats. 4 would be too many. So I didn't want to miss out on my the opportunity of selling 2, and it ends up I sold all 4 of them.
Yeah.
But I've done that in the past, where you break it up into even numbers like that, and it works. So.
Yeah, but I a lot of times I'll see like a single chair back there, and I'm like, I don't know of many people, or there's no trend of buying a table and having all the chairs be different. Unless it's called being poor.
Yeah.
But
But talking about me.
Yeah, my reasoning is just,
yeah.
That's kind of off subject, but I don't know. That seems to do a lot better if things are sold in sets of 2. So that's stuff that we have bought that's used for resale. Now, there's a lot of people, and us included, who will buy things at wholesale prices, or buy things new to sell in the booth. Our mall, we've talked about this before, I know I've mentioned it before, is called Antiques and Uniques. So it doesn't have to be certain era things. Some people are in a mall and things have to be this certain age, or you can't bring them in the door. So ours is not like that. Ours is more eclectic, with a
Mix.
lot of different things. Antiques, retro, vintage, whatever you want to call it, up to new items. So there are certain items that we and other vendors purchase to sell, buy them new, sell them in their booth. And I guess that's where we could get into a little bit of a sticky situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are some of the items that we've seen in our mall that it would be easy to replicate, just to buy and do the same thing?
Well, we were talking soap. There's a couple of people that have the pre-purchased, wrapped up soaps.
They're more of a, I don't know, gourmet is not really the word. More boutique style than just
Not a bar
dial.
of ivory. No ivory up there.
So, not necessarily that. But in that instance, we have, other than the one we saw today in the booth, that I picked them up and was sniffing them, we had a lady that had some ones that looked handmade, but she only had maybe about 10, and she has not brought any more in, so I think it was just something she bought and was reselling. It's not something she's buying, displaying, restocking.
Yeah.
We have one other person that has a brand that's on a spinner, and they're like the glycerin soap. They're either clear or they have chunks of clear or chunks of the more opaque.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a certain brand. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but that's the only person. So you wouldn't want to say, oh, I wonder how much that soap is, or I wonder if I could sell it.
Yeah.
To be the exact same type, the exact same brand. There is a little wiggle room, I think, for if, Kim and I have talked about possibly selling soap in our booth. And there is some wiggle room, so we would buy something that would be different, homemade-ish, and do something like that it wouldn't be, exactly like what the other person has.
Just say, for instance, because I'm not sure exactly if it was glycerin or what, but say someone, because we've had it at the other mall too. I'm not sure if it's the same vendor or not, but they had a display of soap that they kept stocked. Well, there's all kinds of soap, those gourmet soaps. You have like goat milk soaps, and you have
goat milk lotion is so nice.
Yeah, and you have the glycerin soaps, and you have this kind and that kind. So if you have a person selling in that mall that has a specific type of soap, say only glycerin or only goat milk or only whatever, I would not think twice about selling a specialized soap in our booth as long as it wasn't a brand or type that the other person had. Because I know there's no rules in the game. You could sell whatever you want for the money you want. But
there's no rules in our mall for if someone's selling something, you can't sell it.
Yeah, so but personally, I just feel that's fighting against someone you're working together under the same principles there. You're working to make sure the business runs smooth because we're a co-op, and I want you not to keep people out of my booth, and I'm not going to go and keep people out of your booth because I want them to come over and look at my booth and buy something out of my booth. So I don't want to fight against myself. I don't want to make enemies out of people there, and just out of having respect for someone else.
It's an ethical.
It really is.
It's an ethical thing, and if you think about it, even if there's something and you think I want to sell exactly what they have, let's just stick with the soap since it's. I mean, I think the one they're like $5.95 or something. If you say, well, I'm going to buy it, and then I'm going to undercut them. If you're selling exactly what they are and you're trying to undercut them, you're losing money too. Mm-hmm. So it's just not a good idea for a lot of reasons. So
no, a same kind of line is I make, as you've probably heard me mention too, I make like hand towels to hang in your kitchen, and the tops of the hand towels are not crocheted; they're cloth. cloth handmade one with the buttons and all of that. So there is another vendor in our area that sells the ones that have the crocheted tops.
Which everybody does.
Well, and that's...
I mean, when you see it, that's
Yeah.
what I think of.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people do that.
And she does sell them, don't get me wrong. I mean, they're not cheaply made, but it's just a matter of choice. Some people like them, looks better than the other kind.
It's a different look.
Yeah, and a different, see, and in this case is I'm selling kitchen hand towels and she's selling kitchen hand towels, but they're totally two different items. Hers are crocheted, mine are cloth. Hers are less expensive, mine are more expensive. But we're catering to two different kinds of people, two different kinds of groups, and I'm selling them and she's selling hers. So we're not stepping on each other's feet, you know?
Yeah, and I think it kind of seems like like an age thing too.
Yeah.
Because when you see that, I mean, I'm no offense to anyone who's older listening,
No.
but it seems like when I see those, I think of things my grandma used to have.
Our
Our grandma
Yeah.
would have stuff like that, and that thing, she would use it until it was falling apart.
I used to make those. I started off making those. In fact, there's probably still a couple in my mom's drawer in here
Probably.
that I originally made for her. But then, I came across the other
We
ones.
won't
and I
even
like
go
them.
into pot holders.
Oh, no.
This
no
woman
pot
has
holders.
pot holders that could be carbon dated to like caveman times.
Just telling on me.
Every time I pull one out, I'm like, really? You're really using these? Okay, but that's off topic.
Yeah.
So that's another item. So you talk about soap, handmade items. I make, I have the 100% cotton yarn. I make dish towels or washcloths. And I don't really I don't know. I think there's one other person that's selling them, but they don't have very many. So I don't know if that's something they don't concentrate on. So, things like that, that's kind of, that's kind of different. And like you said, you're not doing the same thing. So you're not competing head to head on price.
No, I'm not making the exact same item as she is, selling them exactly the same price, if not a smidge lower to sell them. Mine are higher priced, and because
they look higher end.
They,
honestly.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I think so, but I didn't want to toot my own horn.
Well, toot your own horn. It's okay.
Slap myself on my back. But it's a taste, and I'm selling them okay. I mean, and mine are like almost twice in price as to what hers are.
Well, it's like you said, it's depending on what you look for. Yeah. Other items that I would say sell. I buy incense. I have a wholesale place that I buy from. They have, I think 8 in each package, and I get them essentially for about 35 to 36 cents a box is the price I pay, and then I sell them for $2 a box. So it ends up being a quarter for each stick since there's 8 in the box. And I've been selling those like crazy here recently. I don't think anyone else in our mall is selling incense. Mm-hmm. Now, when I thought about selling them, we talked, and we're always walking through. That's something we always recommend. Walk through, keep an eye on what's selling, keep an eye on what people are putting in their booth and their prices and such. And I kept telling her, I don't see anybody selling incense. So when we got it, when I purchased it and priced them, I mean, they go out the door. And in fact, not this past paycheck, but the paycheck before that, I literally had someone buy 24 boxes. That's $48. So someone sat there and sniffed and picked through all of those. And that's great. So, that's something that no one else is selling. Now, someone else could buy a different brand. The ones I have are made in India. They could get ones that are made in Japan. I have one particular one that I love that's made in Japan that I use in my house. So that's something you could probably sell a higher end one. It's going to be more money, but it's not going to be competing
But
with what
yeah.
I have.
And again, just like with my towels and her towels, you have different people have different tastes. Younger people, they're just like, ooh, incense, buy it, burn it.
Yep.
You have people that have been burning it a while, and after a while, you're like, I can't stand that cheaper stuff because after a while, all you're smelling is the wood that's holding the stuff together instead of the scent itself. So they're willing to pay a little higher price for a nicer scent. So,
yeah, the ones I have, I can't think of the name right off the top of my head, but they are from Japan. They are a stick, but they have no...
I thought you said India.
No, the ones I sell in the booth are Indian.
Oh. Okay.
The ones I use personally are Japanese, and they, I mean, it's funny, you know, when you see on a label it says, you know, been in business since 1985 or something. This one literally says in selling since 18 something. They've been around a long time. Yeah. So, but these are essentially like the cone incense, but it's in a stick. So there's no wood or anything in them. And they are very distinct. I think some of the cheaper ones, they all kind of start smelling the same. Mm-hmm. And they are so strong. They just knock you off your feet. I know whenever I get a box and I have to sit and price like 90 boxes, I have a headache by the time I'm done. But, so incense, that's another item we sell. I buy earrings, but of course that's something that you get a wide variety. I don't think anybody sells or has displayed the amount.
Not the amount, no.
That we have.
But jewelry, again, is that's one of those items that's such a wide variety that you'd have a hard time replicating the same items.
Yeah. So that's, and it's funny because some people, I think the few people that do sell earrings are higher priced than me. So, and I get most of my earrings from jewelry jars, or I do buy ones wholesale. So I mean, I don't literally, when I'm buying earrings to resell, I don't pay more than 50 cents a piece. So, and then I sell them for $3.99 a piece. So that's another thing that has an awesome
A lot of
overhead.
The other jewelry, though, is stuff that people probably pick up at estate sales and that, because it's a lot of brooches, and I've seen there's just one on the one far side that has some newer stuff that's still in plastic or whatever, but it's okay.
Yeah. So that's okay. Like you said, but that's a difficult item to replicate. It's not like, you know, I'm selling this pair of earrings that looks exactly like that one. You should not be selling it. So something else that we sell a lot of that a few people are selling is fabric. Fabric is, for me, is an absolute bread and butter item in our booth. Now, I don't know about any of you, or if you've contemplated selling fabric, or you've tried in the past, or whatever, but we are known for our fabric. And people will usually, I mean, when you have a few pieces of fabric that sell, it's at least 2 to 5, you know, somebody will pick out a whole bunch. Rarely does just one sell by itself.
Yeah, last time I worked, I met one of our customers because I cashier. And so anytime any of our stuff goes through, or like something of yours will go through, I'll say, oh, my sister thanks you. And they look at you real funny, like, what did you say that for? And then I'll say, well, that was my sister's. And part of it, too, is when you're friendly and outgoing and you're smiling and you're helpful and so I want them to know you got that from my booth. That, you know, I'm there. That's
There's a
me.
face behind the stuff.
Yeah, because, you know, in a way, then you're going to remember, oh, that's the booth that I get that stuff in all the time, and that's the lady that's associated with it, and I like them to know that. And you strike up a conversation with them, or, you know, like we're working our booths, and you end up interacting with them, you find out things about your customers. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, that's neat, actually.
But when I was working at cashiering, and the lady came through, and she was a younger woman too. I mean, she probably wasn't but 25, and she had the oddest collection of bits and pieces of material. So I said, so you're one of my sewers. And she looked at me, and I said, we're the ones that have the booth that you got this from. And she said, "Oh, yeah, I always look in there. I love that." And I said, "So what do you make with it?" And she said, "Oh, just this and that and the others." And then with the conversation she was having with, I guess it was her sister or someone, this is one of those people that's just always looking for something to make something and do something and create something.
Yeah.
So whatever she sees that catches, but she works a lot with materials. So
That's
it's
neat.
always nice. And she bought, I don't know, probably like 8 pieces going through that day.
So that's, I mean, definitely that is a bread and butter item that we always do really well on.
I'm
so.
a sucker too on material.
But it's neat, especially when it's something you're interested in. And if you're a sewer, you kind of know what people are looking for as far as, the blends and, if it's really bright, it does better and that kind of thing. So that's something that I think a few people, in fact, we had like 50 minutes to walk around today before we left, and we came across another booth that had you could tell they must have just bought like a bag of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I think anyone else in the mall
As a usual.
regularly looks for, purchases, and resells. And the way we have everything bundled up and we have the sizes on it, and it just makes it a pleasure to look through.
Very specific. Yeah, it's for people like me that sew and to see somebody that has material, and I will go and I will look. And the way that we have it displayed, it's easy because I know what I work with. I know prints, or certain size prints I value more than other size prints, and colors I value more than other colors. And so I could just stand there and just scan and something will catch my eye and pull it out. And we have so many colors and shapes and sizes and...
Yeah, because the
I would
varying...
shop me if I wasn't there.
I mean, the varying places we buy things, we have things, we've had stuff that's 5 and 6 yards, and then we've had other, like a fat quarter or a half a yard or a quarter of a yard, because you never know what someone's looking for.
Yeah.
And the way we have it rolled, and I'm sure, look back in my videos and you'll see I have how I prep and price and sell fabric. So that shows you how it's displayed, and it's rolled up in a roll, and then the ends are sticking out, so that's what you're looking at. So when you see a color, you can pull it out and check the size and the price, and so that's definitely something we sell that I think other people occasionally sell, but it's just whatever they happen to come across. It doesn't seem to be something that people are
not as usual,
looking
not a large
for
amount.
and restocking like we are.
Well, there's one lady has a spinner that she displays linens and things on, and she will on occasion have some material hanging on the spinner.
Yes, because I've looked at something she had there for the longest time, but it wasn't enough to make curtains, because I made curtains for my kitchen. So, what else? What other items
How
can
many
you think
things
of?
How many things of fabric do you think we have out there right now?
Oh,
If you counted out how many rolls?
probably 300?
I would say at least.
350?
Yeah, I would say at least.
Because then we have they're almost like shelves that are like a basket. And then the top one, we have smaller pieces, and then we have them standing on end. So
In containers, because they would fall through the basket otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I would say 350,
it's probably,
yeah. And we're constantly bringing out more, if I'm finding it, I'm bringing it out, because and it's funny because when we were at the previous mall that we were at, and when we left there was probably a good 5-6 month gap between when we left there and when we started at where we're at now. And we literally had people, when we were restocking the first few months, that would say, "There you are.
I recognize
you disappeared, and now I find here's where you are."
I was so sad when you left.
So it's, when you have customers not only coming back because of something that you happen to find, but something that they know they're going to look for, that's what's awesome about it. And some of the fabric we have could be vintage. Some of it's new. So that's something that, if you can find something that sells well, and people will keep coming back again and again, and they're in your booth, they're going to look at your other stuff. That's definitely something you should do.
Because that piece does take up some room.
Yeah, it does.
But
it pays for itself.
We're always talking about maximizing every square inch of that
your
booth.
real estate valuable real
we
estate.
definitely do with the fabric. Yeah.
So we've talked candles. That's something else that seems to have popped up a little bit. We have one vendor that has like jar candles that are, I think they're soy, when they're soy candles, but it is an actual display. They're all the same name brand. It is something I don't know. We'll have to ask Robin about that if she buys them specifically for there. But that's something that seems to be not something that a lot of people do. There are candles, of course, in booths, but it just seems to be what you happen to find, or if you have a little container you're selling, you put a candle in there to sell it, but not anything organized as in this is all one brand, all one style, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So maybe you could look into that.
You know, my brain is sitting here spinning already as we speak.
So
I'll add that to my list of to-dos. Right?
Yeah. Let's see how long that list is. I'm trying to think of other things that people specifically have. There do seem to be a few booths that have more men type things, like vintagey tools and more guy type stuff.
Man cave items, literally.
Yeah.
I was walking past the one today, and there was a lady getting ready to buy something for her husband, and it was like a great big bright light, and it said "man cave" on one of them, and something. It looks like the stoplight, only it's much bigger. Just one big lens.
Oh, okay.
So they were going to get a ladder to get that down, but that one is definitely all man cave stuff.
Yeah. See, we have, like in our space, we have a few guy type items, but it's more guy decorating man cave-ish type things.
Yeah.
But we don't really have, tools. Tools do well no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm thinking, I don't really think anything else more organized. There is a guy that does metalwork and welding.
Oh,
and he has
so
different
good.
letters and
He does whole words.
yeah.
I was standing there staring at his booth today. He sells a lot of stuff, goes through there. He welds it's all made out of metal, and it's, pieces that are put together that are probably 1.5 to 2 inches thick.
Yeah, and they're not, and it's not like polished and painted and fancied up. It's
see the
rustic.
tack welds all the way around.
It's awesome.
And he really has some neat stuff.
So that kind of thing, that's very specific. I'm trying to think of
furniture. The older couple that make furniture.
Yes. Yeah, they do some crazy stuff.
Oh, amazing. Well, we were standing there today talking with another vendor when she caught eye of, it was a light that was made from, the base of it was
it a dolly?
It was an
old one.
It was an old dolly that was used for not barrels, metal like barrels.
Okay.
Okay, not wooden barrels, but metal barrels. So if you're familiar with dollies, and was wood, but they're shorter and they're wider because you'd put it in to put around one of those big metal drums.
Okay.
Okay, drums. So that was the base of it, and then they had like metal tubing
piping.
conduit.
Yeah.
But the older, not the bright shiny silver, it was antiqued and everything, came up around the back of it to hide the light or the wiring. It might have even been iron pipe, like for.
That's what I was thinking. That's what it looked like to me.
Iron pipe painted from like gas lines and such. And then it came up and through the back of a sewing machine, vintage sewing machine, round top case. And the bottom of it was cut out, and that's where the light was. And it shone through.
Very unique piece.
Because the vendor that we were standing there talking to walked up, and from her angle, she couldn't see the metal pipe behind it. And she's like, "Is this thing? It's like hanging. How is this?" It was so funny. But yeah, that was really unique. But he does some really amazing things with wood.
Yeah,
Beautiful
some of the
work.
stuff in there is just, it's crazy beautiful. Mm-hmm. And that's not something anyone can replicate. Mm-mm. So,
we have a couple of really nice, unique booths there.
Yeah.
Very nice, unique items.
So, I guess I guess our whole point is that you could sell anything you want. And if somebody's selling something, you can sell the same thing too. But you have to realize that you want to have a good name up there, and you want people to, respect you and be kind to you and not think that you're trying to undercut them, because to a certain extent there's a fine balance between, yeah, we want to sell more items than other people, but we are competing in a way, but we are cohesive as a store. And as a co-op situation where there are no employees, there are people who are working days because they are vendors, they have a space. So you are constantly looking out for other sellers in the same mall. So I think it's a little bit different in that way, that you're more inclined to say, I'm not going to resell, I'm not going to undercut you, I'm just not going to do that.
Oh, I just thought of that. I was your bamboo.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, everybody knows I have a video how I prep and sell bamboo. Funny enough, it is my highest viewed video I've ever had. It's got like 23,000 views on it. It's crazy. And that I show how to do because of the unique containers. There are some people that are selling plants now. And I don't really think there's anybody who's... A lot of people are doing succulents.
Yeah, succulents are hot right now.
And there was another person that we knew that moved their booth, they used to be close to ours, that would occasionally have bamboo.
Yeah, and that was almost one of those, was like, we're the only ones. And again, it was like but different. I didn't care that anybody else was selling plants. I didn't care, little house plants or spider plants or whatever. That didn't bother me at all. But when somebody else's bamboo showed up in our booth.
Yeah, and I picked it up and I knew it wasn't mine, and I'm like, what?
That's kind of an insult to this.
So when we walked it over to their space, we did see several others, but I don't know.
I haven't seen it since, so hopefully that was a one-off.
Yeah, I got to buy more because my last paycheck, I just sold the last one I had.
I was thinking about, said I might wait, don't wait off, because somebody else will go, oh, they're not doing it anymore.
Oh, that's true.
So if they're like us and waiting around, like, okay, they must not be.
Ooh.
You better get hot on those plants there,
It's funny, when my daughter lived at home and had her cat, he would like to chew the green leaves on there. So I would literally have to prep the bamboo and put a lid on a big container so he could get in there and chew on it. Until the next day when I could take the dumb thing out.
Yep.
So, yeah. And like I said, I always have beads and marbles and rocks, and I'm always looking for unique containers, so it's just a matter of going to the Asian market and picking some up. Yeah, you're right, I should do that. So, I'll make that happen.
Put off on it.
Yeah, so and I sell mine. There's usually 2 in each one. And I sell them for I think $12 is what I was selling them for. So, yeah, if you find a little niche, keep, and they're doing well. And what I did with those 2 is I did a quick little half sheet of how to take care of it. Like, don't use tap water, make sure you use bottled water, and stuff like that. And then I had several of those sitting there. So if you bought one, you could take, the instructions with you. So yeah, I will probably be doing that then in the next week. So yeah, the point is just, have that respect for other vendors, because you kind of don't want them doing that, to you. So it's good policy to do it that way. And, and there's so much out there to sell, even new items. There's so many items to buy new and sell in your space that there really should never be a reason why you're duplicating.
Unless you're just being lazy, is the way I look at it.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I see a lot of that sell, so I'm going to start selling it.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have a little bit of an imagination, really. And the neat thing about the bamboo, too, is it doesn't really even need direct sunlight, because our booth is far enough back in the store where it doesn't get anything but artificial light. and they did beautifully up there.
They do.
So, yeah, so it's, like you said, get out there, look around, try and come up with some ideas and don't just, like you said, don't be lazy and follow what everybody else is doing, because you're going to end up undercutting them, and you're going to end up not selling it for the highest price you could if you were the only one selling it, or if you were the original person that came up with the idea.
Yep.
So there's so many ideas out there. Just go on Pinterest for a day or two in a row.
A day or two.
That's about it, yeah.
I'm sorry. I love Pinterest.
That
I get
is
so many ideas.
It's a rabbit hole.
It helps. It really helps me get started on ideas. I very rarely ever use anything directly turn out like what they have.
Or you probably never stick to what you originally went in there to look at
Yeah.
either.
But it really does help spur the imagination to get it running, yeah.
So, yeah, come up with some original ideas and, get a niche. Be known for something. When you say to someone, oh, I have all the fabric, oh, that's you. So, I mean, you definitely...
The scary booth.
That's
you.
The scary booth.
The scary booth.
One of these days I will do a video on certain booths in our because I haven't really done that for my channel. There's one that's like they repainted eyes on baby dolls that like stuff in nightmares and in scary movies. It is a very freakish booth.
Yeah, but some people love that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I try not to look at it as I go by.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have like a plastic baby in a jar with blue water. I mean, just really whack stuff where you're like... But there's some people out there that, I mean,
They're that's so cool.
I think a Graveyard Girl, I mean, she loves that kind of stuff, the dolls and that.
She would absolutely love that.
Yep.
And he has really old, like almost archaic type of items in there, which go quite well with all that creepy stuff.
Yep. So, well, I guess that's all that we can come up with, unless you got anything else, Kimberly.
I think that's all.
I think that's all. Well,
I think they're probably tired of hearing.
I was going to say, we've jabbered on for what, like 50 minutes now?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry to have put you through all
they
that.
listen to me so much. It's ridiculous.
I have no comment on it. No.
Yeah. I was talking to my son about when they were talking about doing a filibuster. He's like, who could talk for like 16 hours in a row? And then he looked at me and he's like, never mind. I'm like, yeah, I probably could.
Yeah.
So, hope you enjoyed this information. Please give this podcast video a thumbs up. Comment down below. If you have any questions for us that you would like answered, please, by all means, type them into the comments, and we will soon. We're going to have a question. We'll do like a couple questions at the end of one, or maybe we'll do one where it's all questions. If you have something you want to ask that you don't want to type down below in the comment section, you can email me. It's time for me to close up here. Email me at jen@pudgypicker.com, and if you want to in there, just don't mention my name, but I would like this question answered. Not a problem. Also, subscribe to my channel if you have not already on YouTube. And also follow me on Twitter under The Pudgy Picker. And you will get notifications when I put up a new podcast or a video. Because you want to be first.
Absolutely first.
Can't
miss out on this
you ever
important
see
information.
all those videos where people type first? I don't have that yet. Maybe someday I will have that. I don't know. So that is all. We will see you next time. And signing off. We still don't have a sign off one of these days.
I'm working at it, but they're too long.
Oh my goodness. We'll be on episode 100 and we'll still be doing this.
We're 98 years old today and we still don't have a closing.
Yeah, well, hey. We'll figure it out. Okay, so that is all from Jen and Kim. 2 sisters.
1 booth.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.